years behind him. But it's a great story because they arrived to the orphanage and the government didn't know much about his relatives, his family or his parents. Um, they were ready for adoption, and three times they almost got adopted. For some reason, at the end of the process, things would change, and they were not being adopted at the end of the process.
That's got to
Uh,
be heartbreaking for you guys to see the hope on the kids' eyes, and then have it fall apart. I would imagine. Is that difficult?
ex- exactly, because you know that even when we try to give them a family, because that's one of the things that I really love about LOACs. We don't have the dorms for boys and the dorms for girls. We have houses, families with a dad and a mom and aunt, and the three adults take care of the children like in a regular house with chores for every kid. We every family prepares their meals. They do laundry. They take care of the tasks at home, um, and we know as much as we try to provide this family environment to our children, it's never like their own family or a family that can adopt them. And instead of having 10 to 12 kids to take care, they're only taking care of two, three, or four, depending on how many kids are in the family. But at the same time, we think there was a bigger purpose for Ricardo's life because he's been the inspiration not only for his younger brother Manuel, as you can see, he's following his career, but he has been an inspiration for many other kids. He was one of the best students in his class everywhere he was going, and when he decided to go to university and be a dentist, um, he set an example for many other kids that thought that probably they would never be able to go to
Yeah, that's a
university,
great
to
story.
college,
Yeah.
and made it.
You know, I'm sitting here listening to how you and your family have affected um, one kid's life or multiple kids' life at a time, and I can't help but juxtapose that next to um, the rhetoric and the arguing and the bickering and the all the crap we hear on the news or even amongst ourselves, and think, man, if people would just stop pointing fingers, if they would stop blaming and just do something positive. It's so, I mean, I don't want to make light of what you do, and I know that it's not easy, but the amount of effort that people spend bickering about politics or about the wall or something else, and I don't have no intention to go political on this, but it's just hitting me so much right now that it's simple. You love some kids and feed them and let them know that they matter, and it's amazing what the result can be, and if more people would do that, man, what a better place the world would be.
Exactly, and you're totally right. If we can always find negative things about not only uh, Baja, but our governments and our countries and all of that. But if we just focus on making a change in the life of one child, um, it's something that we is gonna give our lives a different purpose,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
we're gonna see that now our lives probably have a reason because we are serving, we're helping, we're making the world a little bit better by helping the children.
Yeah.
And they are following this same example because, for instance, we have one kid, Enrique. He graduated from engineering computer science a couple of years ago. He is working in Tijuana. He's working hard because he wants to get married. 1 or maybe 2 more years. They are saving. But the most important thing that I want to talk about Enrique is he said to me, I'm saving for my wedding. I don't make a lot of money because I'm starting and I have a lot of expenses, but I want to help one of the kids that needs some help.
Yeah, it's an
How can I
exponential
help?
effect, right? Yeah, I love that.
Exactly. And you see not only Enrique, Daniela, Linda, Maricruz, and I can tell more names of kids that are coming back and going back to the orphanage, bringing donations, telling stories to the children and inviting, giving them hope and telling them, don't give up. Probably life is not what you expect right now. Probably right now, all you see is frustration, and probably you have anger why your family is, just abandoned you or is not coming to visit you. We've been there. We know what it feels, but we want to let you know there is hope. And if you continue doing good here, with God's grace and with the support of sponsors, you're going to be able to change your life. And one day, just see your past like something that is not going to affect you and look forward for a better future. So,
Okay, so I'm going to interrupt you right now, and not because what you're saying is not important, but I'm just going to say right now, step up to the plate. If you're listening to this, step up to the plate and do something. And if it's not for Danny and the Oasis orphanage outside of Valle de Trinidad, do something for somebody else. But if it is for the orphanage outside of Trinidad, El Oasis, let's be really clear right now about how that can happen. A website, the name of a company, a phone number, a person, or just get a hold of me through the podcast here. But what does that look like, number one? And then before we get too far into the goodbyes, I also want to ask the process, and I could be way off base here, but just by some chance, if there is somebody that ends up listening to this podcast that would be interested in adopting one of the kids from the orphanage, is that possible internationally? And what does it look like? How difficult is it? And can we use this podcast to hopefully connect potential family to a child that needs a family?
it is possible to do international adoptions. In Mexico, all the adoptions are made through the government. What I mentioned before, DIF, DIF, it's the agency of the government who takes care and does all the paperwork and process for adoption. So if you are interested, you can either try to contact a DIF office. They are in every main city like Tijuana, Ensenada, Rosarito, Mexicali, or you can contact us and we'll try to help you with that, providing you with more information.
Okay, and so how do we contact you? And I also want to make sure you have some time here to talk about the current direction of the orphanage. Like I was saying before we talked, I've driven by it a few times. I haven't pulled in, but it's looked like it wasn't open. So give us an update there. But again, right now, in case we lose somebody afterwards, is there a website or a phone number? Let's get that out right this minute.
Okay, we have a phone number. Probably it's easier in the States with area code from San Diego. It's 619-793-8764. Again, 619-793-8764. That's a phone number. An email probably would be LOASIS, ELOASIS, at forhischildren.org. forhiskids.org. All words. forhiskids.org.
Got it. And we'll put that information in the show notes as well, the phone number and the email address. And so then let's talk about what's the current status with El Oasis, and you said you had some good news to share about it, so let's hear that.
Yes, probably what you mentioned that the place looked like was not open. We went through a couple of years, probably almost 3 years, with very little number of children in our facility, and we needed to make a lot of changes in our facility structure because the government was changing requirements of safety, and we were, let's say, under a remodeling process that
Sure.
took us almost 3 years, 2 to 3 years. Now we're back with better facilities. We have all the permits, all the certifications needed to operate properly. And actually, we were one of the very first 10 orphanages in the state of Baja California, to get all the permits ready. And now the government is asking us to take more kids, but we're going slowly, taking more kids back. And the reason is because we are also working really hard on a farming project. Last year was our first year that we started that project, and we used to do little farming projects where the kids got involved, little gardens in the back of the homes. But this time we worked on almost like 12 acres, planting jalapeno pepper, and it went too well. We were so happy with the profit we were able to make, because this is going to allow us to have a little more budget in order to open more houses and have more children. And this year, we were able to get more donations, get a tractor, use the profit that we got from last year. And this year, we are expecting to farm around 55 acres of jalapeno pepper and tomatillo and a couple of other things, I guess.
What an awesome story. I love hearing the self-sustainability part of this.
Exactly. We are very happy because we appreciate donations, and we've lived because of the donations, through donations. But definitely, we are trying to be more self-sufficient in order to grow and, be more, give more opportunities to have more children
Sure.
in our place.
Well, listen, Danny, we're hitting our 30-minute mark here, and I really want to say thank you for taking the time to come on the show. And I'm going to go ahead and shout out this contact information one more time. You can send an email to Danny at Eloasis, that's ELOASIS, at forhiskids.org, and that's forhiskids.org. Or you can make a phone call, and that's 619-793-8764. And I'm going to ask it one more time. If you're listening, there are kids that need help. And I know I've been to the facility. Danny and his family do everything they can for these kids. So I'm requesting some help here for Danny. I'm glad to have the opportunity to do this on this show, and look forward to hearing some positive return on all of this. And I'd love to have you back at some point, so we can address how things are going, reach out to our audience again, and maybe hear some more success stories about the kids. Do you have any last little pieces of wisdom or advice or requests that you'd like to make? And then I got one more question for you that is not as serious, but we try to ask every one of our guests. So The floor is yours for one last second, then I'm going to